live on Truth Wanted. What's up?
Hi, hello.
Hello, how
How
are
are you
you?
today?
Good, good. I mean, depressed because of the state of the world, but that's not going to
Oh
change
man, don't I
anytime
know
soon.
it?
So,
It's been kind of awful lately, hasn't it?
yeah, I better get over it real quick because, like I said, it's not changing anytime soon. So, what are you going to do?
Right. So my topic is that QAnon theories are deadly and their pervasiveness in culture is damaging to everyone, not just the people who believe in it. Because the
I like your
people
thesis,
who believe,
and I immediately, you don't even have to defend it. I immediately agree with you there. But
Yeah.
yes, go
oh
ahead.
yeah,
Tell
yeah.
tell me about
I
that.
want to
Yeah, the
hear
people
more.
who believe this are the ones in power and they're making policies based off of these beliefs. And even just like the little things, for example, like COVID isn't dangerous or
Yeah,
ivermectin will cure you. That stuff that stuff put my dad in a coma when he tried using it to try and cure his COVID. He'll never be the same afterwards. He's
yeah,
blind. He doesn't have movement in his hand. This stuff is dangerous to everyone.
Hmm.
I agree.
Even
You
just like the little things, just like little bits and pieces will pervade itself into religion, and those religion will, like here in Utah, everything is all the policies are built off of the local religion, which kind of sucks.
Right. So John made a joke earlier about how he doesn't think that Donald Trump is cute. And actually, it's funny because, of course, Donald Trump has been asked several times about the Q phenomenon.
Hmm.
And if I recall, one of his answers to what does he think about Q, he's saying, I don't know much about Q, but I hear that they're for freedom. And I support that. It's something along those lines, right?
Hmm.
So the thing is, he does know about Q. He's lying, right? Like, just I'm saying this. I don't know this is a fact, but it's pretty obvious he's lying, right? I mean, every single like right wing grifter out there has been using Q to like promote their ideas. Look at like I mean we're getting a little political
Right.
here, but
Cute
I'm
talking
just
points.
trying to state I'm trying to bring up objective like facts of history so that I can make my point here. But folks like Marjorie Taylor Greene has explicitly used Q rhetoric. I'm trying to think of some other people. Other people that have been up for election have definitely endorsed Q and what it's had to say because they know that their base also likes Q. And so like they want to be the Q people. They want to like be the face of that. And when they do that, they of course legitimize the movement even further because people are like, well, here's these politicians that are talking about, so like it must be real. It is really sad. It is really sad.
Yeah, my senator is Mike Lee, and I'm pretty sure he follows Q. He's just not as vocal about it as like Marjorie Taylor Greene. He's definitely at January 6th. Definitely, I'm positive
Oh,
that
wow.
one. And I'm doing my best to try and vote him out, but it's scary about how these beliefs are managing to invade their way into our public consciousness and our culture, even when we don't want them to, even when it's harmful. And
Yeah.
that's dangerous. Innocent people keep getting hurt by these ideas. Like all of
Hmm.
the I I think Pizzagate was one of them. That was the one
Yes.
where that guy went into that pizza shop and started shooting, if I remember right.
Yes. Pizzagate, just to talk briefly about it, is probably one of the big inspirations for why QAnon took off the way that it did, because of the public nature of that, and because it was such a talking point within these kinds of circles already.
Hmm.
Q, like if you look at some of those Q posts, like indirectly mentions John Podesta and indirectly mentions stuff that happened with Pizzagate to sort of like further this narrative that like yes, your suspicions about this event were true and that it you should use that to inquire about these other things. So yeah, like Pizzagate was definitely a part of this larger narrative, and it also was endorsed by some politicians, although not as much as Q was. Q came a bit later, of course, and became more mainstream. And the more mainstream it got, the more acceptable it became to just say stuff that's not true about, conspiracy
Right?
stuff. It's it's
Hmm.
it's it's pretty wild. Yeah.
Yeah. I
John?
would just say I would say that just in any of these situations, yes, it's terrifying that people believe these things, but just make sure you're safe, and make sure your
Mhm.
family is safe where possible.
Yeah.
And t- talk about it with them. Did you? So you said your dad is he bel- he
He
did things because he'd listened
he's
to
not
what
like
Q had
all
said.
in, but he does believe some of the more appealing talking
Okay,
points, which I think is the more dangerous part of QAnon.
sure.
Is that
Well, so
the less insane bits manage to
okay.
get accepted as fact.
I would
Yeah.
the only ammunition we have is to talk, and don't the best way to go into this is to not or how at least how I do it, and I'm not saying this is the best way for everyone, but is to talk about why get why they believe these things and ask questions, because you can turn people's way of thinking by asking the right questions and saying, okay, so where is this information coming from? Where are you getting this? Is that a reputable source? And I mean, it sounds like it's a little too far gone for your father right now because he's already done the damage. But in future, where you can, ask questions and talk about it, and try and have level-headed conversations to try and bring people back,
Right.
and
Yeah.
that's all I
I
can
think he learned his
suggest on
lesson
that.
from watching too much
Sure.
Fox News. I think he learned not to do that.
Right.
The crazy thing though is, Whisper, is that there are people who have been interviewed who got COVID and who are
Mhm.
still like, yeah, I still don't want the vaccine, or I still don't regret not getting the vaccine. I think that is a really interesting thing.
Having
But
COVID sucks. It was the worst experience of my life.
yeah, I mean,
I feel you.
I'm lucky. I never actually got it. But all of my family got it. And by the way, my family is not anti-vax. They're actually most of my family works in medicine, so they got it because they were on the job. They got it
Mhm.
before the vaccine was even available. But like, it is.
Oh,
Let me. You know,
oh,
climate change and QAnon conspiracies have a similarity here in that
Uh-huh.
the best thing we can do for climate change actually isn't on an individual level, right? Like it has to be on a giant corporate level, and like we
Mhm.
can only kind of do what we can in local circumstances. I think the same works for QAnon, right? I can't run Facebook, I can't run Twitter, I can't tell them to shut these groups down. I know they're trying to do more of that, and I do think that deplatforming those groups does sort of
Get the ball
disenfranchise these
rolling.
groups
Yeah.
more. Yeah, I
yes,
I
I
do believe
agree.
that that could. But like you're right, it's like the best thing I think we can do, John, is like if you can perform the emotional labor of talking about it with people you know, I do sincerely believe that you're more likely to convince somebody you know than just
Mhm.
like a stranger that you meet on the internet, or just somebody on Twitter that you just find,
Absolutely.
right? Because like there is more of a
Oh,
rapport that's
absolutely,
already
I
built
agree.
there, right? Yeah. So I hope things go well with your dad, Whisper,
Yeah.
because
Let us
that's
know.
it's really tough.
Yeah, I've been building prosthetics for him since he can't use his dominant hand anymore. I love him, but he fell for something dumb. But the damage is done, so I can't do anything about it except help him move on from that, which
Exactly.
is
Yeah.
hard.
Well, here's the thing, right? Like, it's not going away, and like more conspiracies and more beliefs that just aren't true are still going to keep happening. So you can still help him by helping him figure out what's true and not true in the future,
Mhm.
when inevitably the next big thing comes in and the next big talking point,
Right.
happens. Like I wouldn't give up hope yet. It can still be an ongoing conversation of trying to help figure out what's true and what's not true, right?
Right.
Yeah.
It's like not. It's like they tend to legitimize like the media. They tend to legitimize the small talking points so that they
Yes,
can further bring in those stranger talking points and like,
it's
Right.
true.
okay, I guess you're gonna do that. There's nothing I can do about it because I'm not a news corporation.
It's true. It's true. There is a focus on the possible rather than what's probable, right?
Right.
So it could be possible that Paul Pelosi had a secret prostitute that he saw when Nancy Pelosi was away on vacation, and somehow it got out of hand, and this is all just a cover up. Or
Right.
it could be that Nancy Pelosi is a very hated figure among certain circles, and this dude's post history definitely suggests that she didn't like him, or he didn't like her. So,
Right.
what's more probable there, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's really how you have to
Occam's
think about
razor
it.
gets them every time.
Mhm.
Yeah. Exactly, which is a good tool. But
And
anyway,
the good
Whisper.
thing is, I'll just to add in just ever so quickly, the good thing is you don't have to know a lot about a lot to ask questions either. So
I love
just go
asking
in with,
questions. It's my favorite
yeah,
hobby.
there you go.
It's
Yeah,
true.
that's the best way to be, in my opinion. I love that.
I agree. Asking questions is always a good thing to do. But Whisper, we're gonna go ahead and let you go so we can talk to some other folks. But thank you so much for
Awesome.
calling
Thank
in.
you.